Do you regret it? This was the question he was asking himself, each and every morning. Bound in chains on the rock, looking to the east and to the beginning of its day, motionless exposed, the eagle's prey. Do you regret it? Prometheus had thoughtlessly wasted all of the gifts that the gods had appointed them to give out and share among these new creations, this mortal life. You spent everything on the animals and forgot about the humans, he had told him, thoughtful and disappointed, to his brother, to his always impulsive, always forgetful, and always hasty brother. Prometheus had been hurt by the observation. He had frowned and shrunk, looked down to the dirt and shame, but he could see it himself too. The human race was standing there, small, weaponless, naked, defenseless. I will find something to give them, he told them again, to calm him down, tapping him on the shoulder, and then he left, far away, to the tops of the mountains, to think. Do you regret it? And so he had spent a lot of time by himself, thinking about what to give to the humans. What would he actually give to them? The humans were the smartest of the new mortal beings that had been created, adaptable and able to find solutions, their bodies built to perform any possible movement. And they looked like the gods, in terms of appearance at least. Little gods, Prometheus had called them. Do you regret it? After much thought, he made his decision and went to Athena. She was the only one he could talk to plainly, and she had an affinity for humans more than any other god, the Lady of Wisdom. Explaining to her how things were, she reassured him and then gave him the science of the arts. The humans surely had the ability to do many things, and they would be able to make good use of the arts to protect themselves, evolve, and become great. It was a science that only the gods possessed. He thanked her warmly, happy as his darkened thoughts had suddenly brightened, turned to go, but she stopped him. Do you want me to suggest what else to give them? She told him, with a cunning smile. Do you regret it? It was late, night almost, when he sneaked inside Hephaestus' laboratory, even though he wasn't there. The fire, perhaps a primeval source and form of life, was dancing in front of his eyes atop a pedestal, weak but so strong at the same time. Here was what he could give to the humans for a weapon. Here was what would protect them from the wrath of nature and beasts. Here was a mighty tool to carve out an existence. He took out a torch from his sack and hovered it over the red and blonde flames. It lit up immediately. He hid it inside his cloak and carefully left Hephaestus' laboratory, ready to go for the third and final gift. Do you regret it? Zeus was not at the top of Olympus on that morning that hadn't dawned yet. For once more, he sneaked inside like a thief where the sovereign of the gods lived, and started searching among his belongings as silently as he could. He found the third gift buried deep inside a great chest, the science of politics, like a blurry vision, like a cloud which was changing colors, hovering in front of his eyes. His smile was bright. They will truly be like small gods, Prometheus, he whispered. And then he heard her cough. He turned in fear and saw Hera, looking at him with her arms crossed and an angry look for finding him where he was not supposed to be. I will not tell him anything because he's been gone for hours now, who knows where. But take care not to let Hermes see you, as he is around here somewhere, she only told him. He thanked her and left without losing time. He thought he was careful, however. Do you regret it? Another night had passed, his limbs stiff, weary, blooded by the chains, his torso on fire. He spoke to himself for one more time, perhaps for the 1000th time that night, to make sure that he was still alive, that he still had control of his brain. Every night my wounds are healed, and every day on this blood-stained rock I leave my soul bare and free for the eagle, for the humans. Do you regret it? He had hurried back to Prometheus. They would find him soon, he knew it. These two thefts would not be ignored, but he would make certain the humans would make these sciences theirs. He stood with the Prometheus in front of the humans, these ephemeral ones, in front of these small future gods, next to the sea at Sikion. They were looking at them, some with glassy gazes, others wondering what they were about to tell them. And at that moment he gave them everything, the knowledge he had acquired with lawful and unlawful means, and without Zeus's prior approval and consent. Some of them understood, but he could see the fear inside the eyes of most. "You are their king now," he had told his brother, taking care to say it in front of them for them to understand. He also told him to never accept any gift from the father of gods and men, knowing in advance that somehow Zeus would get his revenge. Do you regret it? Epimetheus perhaps never really understood what his brother meant. And then, through mist and smoke and by the sounds of thunders, Kratos and Bia appeared fully armed and ready. They had him in chains before he even understood what was happening. They were followed by Hephaestus, limping behind them, who only asked him why he did it. He did not reply, but simply gave a meaningful nod to his brother and hoped that all would go well, that he would remember his advice to not accept anything. Deep inside him, however, he perhaps knew that his impulsive brother would let him down again for one more time. Do you regret it? This was also the only question the god of thunder had asked him, and the answer had enraged him. In front of both superior and inferior gods, Prometheus had dared to give the only answer that would condemn him. Athena, always argumentative towards her father, said that the sentence should not be great, as it was she who had given him one of the arts as well as the idea, and the theft had not really harmed any one of the gods. He himself said nothing else to justify his actions. He noticed, however, Hermes smiling wryly at him, the cogs of his mind in a tireless motion, always setting up the revenge of the gods. And Zeus, with his booming voice, announced the sentence with only a handful of words. One of them, the most important one, the mountain of Caucasus, the end of the world. Then he asked Hephaestus to visit him later in the day to talk, turned his back to everyone, and left. Do you regret it? Kratos and Bia had restrained him again, but this time he did not try to resist, let alone escape. Hephaestus was methodically binding his limbs with fat chains, and he knew that no matter how much he tried, he would never be able to break them by himself. All three left without saying another word, but Hephaestus turned to look at him one last time, a deep sorrow in his eyes, a prelude of what was to follow. And a few hours later, the eagle had come for the first time. Do you regret it? It was again just before the break of dawn. It was the darkest hour, just before Helios got on his chariot for one more time. How many days had actually passed ever since he was brought here? How many years? He had lost the sense of time. Seasons came and went, and still he remained here. No, I do not regret it, and I would do it again had I the chance. He was shouting it every day, another personal ritual that confirmed to him he still had not lost his sanity, that his actions had some value, some meaning. It was also the answer he had given to Zeus. The humans were his children, molded from the soil where the blood of his parents, the Titans, had been shed, meant to become great one day, meant to surpass them all. He wanted to give them the spark, the fire, the vision, and as he was guilty, he had accepted his punishment with no remorse and without protesting it or regretting it for a single moment. He was proud for everything he had done. And the time was now upon him again. He felt it, he knew it, he could see it far ahead in the colors of dawn. A tear started rolling down his right eye. The first ray from Helios' chariot pierced the clouds, away in the east, and he met it with another sorrowful smile. He heard the cry of the eagle from somewhere far him, far away above him, high in the sky, and he knew that Caucasus would be set aflame with his cries of pain for once more.